Okay, this is both for tow wrecker and pisser. Okay, this is the Ford F250 extended cab that I was telling you guys about. This one has been off the road since '96. This is the one that I put a whole bunch of work on. You know what I'm talking about, tow wrecker. Basically, aside from replacing the engine, I've replaced a whole bunch of parts in it, and it's still out of adjustment. But I think it's the fuel pump. I think the lobe inside, it's not pumping enough fuel, so it's time for an electric fuel pump. But this truck was bought in '87. It's had added mirror things because we have a camper on it right now, and we use that just to move it around in the yard and plow with. You know, obviously, you got a plow frame. That's what we use it for, plowing. But the reason I also have this for pisser is because you just painted that F-150, and if you look at the way this is right now, it's very similar, aside from the fact that this has a rubber breakup along the line here, bumper, whatever you want to call it, and you had a pinstripe you did. But this truck has been painted several times, and if you look, you can see it used to be a two-tone. I'd have to look and see if I could find a picture, but it used to be white along the bottom, which it's not focusing. And come on, you piece of junk, focus. It used to be white along the bottom and white on the top, and then blue along the middle. Now, if you go along here, you'll see the box is all blue. And that's because the box is a rot box. It needs to be replaced. If this truck was ever going to go on the road, it needed a replacement box. The rockers down here, hang on a minute, I'll go get a flashlight and I'll show you how bad they are. Alright, this truck has been bondoed, I can't even begin to tell you how many times. It's rotted right out. I could actually stick my hand right up underneath here. If I can get the flashlight to stay there. There we go. Stick your hand right up in here. And if you look right here, you'll see it's just rotting away. And this truck has been repaired many times. The floor actually would need to be replaced, because if I was to take up that mat right there, we did patching to make it so that you weren't Flintstoning the dang thing. But it still runs. It needs a little attention. The under part of the door has been bondoed. You might be able to see that. Something fierce bondoed down there. We never had one of them MIG welders, and so we used to bondo the crap out of everything. You can see how much this has just been fudged together. Poor truck needs help. You'd almost want to cut off a whole crap load of metal and redo it, but I don't know. It's so old. I don't know if this truck will ever see the road again. We just use it for yard mule, I guess you could call it. This truck was once in an accident. This fender was a replacement. Part of the grill, I think the bumper, and even the hood was replaced, which the hood's starting to rust too. If you look right up here, you can see it. But that freaking hood's been on there since sometime in the '90s. I can't remember when the accident happened. But, yeah, that's the truck that I've been telling you guys about, you know, and it works pretty good for what we use it for, but that's about it, you know. It doesn't leave the yard anymore. And I've been trying to get the old man to give it to me, or sell it to me, because this is not mine, it's his. And he won't budge, so. I just like the old style look, you know, the old headlights, the old look. You know, I like the 80 through 86 look, and then I don't mind the 92 to 96, some people say 97 style. Don't like the 87 to 91 with the square headlights. You know, these are square, but those are plastic. I just don't like that look. But enough rambling. There's the truck. See you later. Working on the '85 F250, putting in the electric fuel pump and wiring that up. Decided it was time to take out the mechanical pump because I think the lobe is just worn and it's just not pumping enough fuel to run. And as you can tell, I'm a bit of a Ford man. But, you know, I like GM products too, as you may have noticed. I have my Olds and I have my 83 Melba wagon. But this truck, you know, is important enough, because if you don't have it, you know, we end up shoveling or plowing the driveway either. Well, we have a snowblower that we can use, but this is much nicer. So anyway, enough babbling. Show you what I put in here. There's the new fuel pump. Got it hooked up. This thing has dual tanks, so this is the switch for the two tanks, and then hooked it into this new fuel pump. And so far the wires are run all the way up, and then they go up into the cab. They go up through the engine compartment into the firewall, and then they come out. There's the wire right here. Get the camera focused. There's the new wire right here. And just got to hook her in and give her a shot. Should work. And basically, once that's all hooked up, the truck should run fine again. But it just wasn't getting enough fuel. So this is the latest project. And the amount of stuff that this truck has gotten in the past couple months here, there's no reason why it shouldn't run. It's there's a new got you upside down here, but see if we can. There's a new module over there in the corner. See if I'm even aiming it in the right spot. No, there it is. Okay, I was filming yesterday. The camera's battery decided to die, so that ended filming for yesterday. But what I was starting to tell you was this has got a new spark igniter box. It's also got a new coil right here. The camera will focus on it. Where the freak is it? There it is. It's got a new coil, new spark plugs and wires, and cap and rotor and distributor. Let's see, what else can we list on here that got replaced. It did have a mechanical fuel pump, but it didn't work, so I just put on the new electric fuel pump. So once the new electric fuel pump was in, then, you know, I've already tried it, and it runs pretty good. Now we have everything hooked up inside, which might be temporary, considering that where everything's mounted up in here is connected into the same circuit as the plow control, which is probably not a good idea, but it was the best solution I could come up with at the time. And I still need to zip tie these wires up out of the way. The vice grips that you keep seeing is for the hood release, because the original hood release decided to break. The cable let go, so should look into getting a new cable for it, but this works for now. And now everything else is hooked up. I left these cutters in here so that I can use the zip ties and zip everything up and clean it up so it's not hanging there and you might rip it out. And also I had to put this filter up here, which is actually the breather line for the tanks, because the old pump, the mechanical fuel pump, had, which you can't even see it was down in there anyway, and I had to put a black off plate on it, and then I put this up in here because there was no place to go with it, because there was no connection. It was just a straight shot from the tank when you put in the new electric fuel pump. So this truck It's got quite a few new parts. I don't know if I forgot anything. You know, it had, you know, let me see, was it last year it got new alternator, and it ended up with a new voltage regulator. And put the new voltage regulator over here on the side, and the new alternator. And that got the charging circuit running. And, it was a combination of problems that got it to where it stopped running. It wasn't getting any spark, so we replaced the spark box. It still wasn't getting spark worth a crap. Changed the coil, which after finding that the pickup coil in the distributor was junk, half of the parts might not have been necessary, but you know it should run, shouldn't have a problem now, and it starts right up. Let's see here, I don't know if it will stay here or if it'll fall off and break my camera, but let's see here. Let me try and put this. Let's see here. I don't know. I guess all you can see is the air cleaner. A few things I had to adjust. I think the timing's a little off, and I might need to run a little carb cleaner through the carburetor. But the other problem is the fittings that I had when I put this new fuel pump in, the electric fuel pump, is they gave you this they give you this little filter thing that they want you to put on the inlet side, and it wouldn't fit. It was just too big. You needed probably about that much, just the basic screw-in one about the size of, something like, we'll use this for an example. Something more like that in comparison, you know, it's a little bit bigger that you needed, but basically about that. And then you can hook your line onto it. But this was just too damn big. And the problem I had is if you look at the, where the hell am I? There we go. The inlet side of this is actually a little too small. And that's about the same size inlet as the one that's on there. But it's got a bigger, you know, it's like this is the similar to the size that comes out. But the inlet is about that. So it's the wrong size one. So I should go and buy another one from the auto parts store. And then that would solve probably part of the problem. But the other problem is I think the carburetor and the choke is not that great. We've had it rebuilt once, but could be a defective carburetor, could be adjustments, could be gummed up with this crap gas that you have nowadays. Usually once it gets warm, the truck runs fine. But then again, the filter doesn't seem to be staying full either, so I don't know if it's getting enough fuel or if it's leaking again. It's not leaking. Finally fixed the leak last night, but you guys didn't get to see all that fun. This thing was leaking so bad that as soon as you shut it off, it was pissing gas all over the floor. So I had to go under there and go through a bunch of hose clamps and see what I could find, which, when you work on vehicles, keep yourself a good stock of hose clamps. That's one thing you should keep, because we ran out of hose clamps and I had to improvise and use whatever I could do for the time being, because by the time I was almost done, parts stores were closed. Lots of fun when they're closed.